Here we go. The countdown is about to be done. So let me just set it off. And hi, Monica, I see you. And I remember the name. Mood Spin Sound in the building. 1212. Quick check right here. Welcome to Share the Knowledge Live. I'm your host, DJ TLM. This is my DJ Q&A show, my live DJ Q&A show, where you can ask me anything DJ related. AC1 Music is in the building. And we got Louis Aranda in the building as well. So salute to all the people on YouTube, on Twitch, on Mixcloud, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'll open up IG a little bit later. Let's see. We got Felix Davis. Tamir is here. DJ Uptown. Zola in the building. Yeah, I'm on best of answer. And we have... Oh, I have my Mixcloud window open. Let me see if I can change that because I can see the messages. The names are a little harder to read. Why? Because I think I see DJ Rel and DJ Favor on Mixcloud. So I hope I'm reading that right. So salute to all of you as well. I had a service that I could use to also add Instagram, but I have to resubscribe to that one. So for now, I have my phone here. I'm going to add Instagram a little bit later. It's a little bit harder to do it that way because I can't see that in the Restream chat app where I can see everyone else. And I have a Mixcloud window open. Mixmaster G in the building. I haven't even had a chance to check out your email, homie. That's why I didn't call yesterday. Kids took up all my time. As soon as I get to it, I make sure I'll get back to you to talk. Because I do know that since the last time we talked about your conversion tool, Mixmaster G makes a conversion tool for all the DJs out there. If you're using one type of DJ software, but you want to use something else, there are tools out there that can help you to get all of your music with your cue points and loops in there ready for the other software. But I did see that you have a lot more tools now than you did then, like 2 years ago. So you expanded like crazy. So yes, we'll have to talk about that. John Willett, salute to you. Andy K is in the building from Finland. Rodney Sounds is here as well. What's going on? So I have a couple of things I want to get into, and those are questions that I got in through Instagram. I just asked for some questions in advance, just in case questions weren't coming in live. I mean, questions are always coming in live, but maybe some topics that I could give some thought. And any question I have might be interesting for you as well. K-Dub was good. Salute, salute. And yeah, so Mixmaster G, we'll get into that, and maybe we'll do an entire episode. I still have to come on your podcast stream, and we'll do the reverse as well, so you can just explain everything about all of the different apps that you have now. Because I saw there's at least one for just the DJ software, then one for streaming, from streaming to DJ software. I mean, I'll have to look into it, but there was a lot. Is DJing really that difficult? Depends on how you look at it, Monica. There's the technical aspect of DJing, so learning how to do the techniques. So if we're talking about DJing from a technical perspective, mixing songs, making songs go from one track to the next, matching the tempo of tracks. The technical side, for some, it's not that hard. For some, it is harder. So there's a learning curve, and it kind of depends on your sense of rhythm and just your sense, your musicality. All of those things can help to make it easier. But the technical aspect is one part of it. So for some, that can be hard. For others, it's not that hard. But that's just one part of it. You can have all of the technical skills, but that's still not the same thing as actually playing for people. And then there's a lot more that's involved. So I would say, I mean, I don't know if I'd call DJing difficult. I do have a problem when people try to oversimplify and make it seem like it's something really easy. Even some of my colleagues, I've had colleagues that have sold courses, and in their promo for their courses, they made it seem like, hey, just do this for 2 weeks and you'll be a pro DJ. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not really realistic. There's definitely a lot more that comes into play. LC, yes, the holidays they went okay over here. They yeah, we didn't do that much anyway in the current situation, but yeah, we're okay. And yes, mood spin sound. DJing overall is mad fun. I 1000% agree. Andy K, what up? Back in the days, originally from New York. Used to spin at 54 a couple of times. Nice. Joe DJ 127 in the building. And what type of mic am I using? I'm using the pod mic right here. This is a pod mic by Rode. Really enjoy using that. I use it for my live streams when I'm mixing, even though it's not a dynamic mic that you would use for normal DJ shows. But since I have them in the studio, they work well. I wouldn't really take this out to, if I'm playing live, I'll bring something like just like a normal Shure mic, an SM57 or my V7 by SE Electronics. I think I already missed something in the chat app. I saw something and it just scrolled by. Let me go back for a second. So LC, all is good indeed. John Willett. Yes, turntable vinyl versus CD, very hard. Okay, we got everything else, I think. LNMD, mixed styles was good. Felix Davis. See, I think I missed a couple of y'all in the beginning. So AC1 Music had a question about music curation. How will you curate your music collection if you want to build it again from the ground up? Well, that's a great question. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I definitely felt, so two things. There's my music collection. So that's all of the music I have. And then there's basically the DJ collection. Because I think for most of us, our DJ collection is not going to be our entire music collection. Maybe for some of you it is. And I know some people who like to bring terabytes of music when they play, which is crazy to me. But for me personally, I'm going to build my crates up from rebuild them from the ground up. I want to have a lot less music in there. So really make sure that every track I place in folders, playlist, however you want to call it, every track that's in there is actually something that I would play. Now I have tracks in there that are cool tracks and I like to listen to, but some tracks have been in folders for 15 years, 10, 15 years, and I never played them during gigs. That says something. So maybe that track shouldn't be in there. So yeah, I'm going to start from the ground up, and that's going to take a ton of time, like going through songs. I think most likely what I'll do is I'll start with just some of my favorite artists and artists that I really know I play a lot, go through their catalog, pick songs from every album that give me a good feeling like, yeah, this needs to be in there, and really build it from the ground up. So, of course, I'm going off feeling songs I like, but I have to just also approach it from a will I play this perspective. If I just look at songs I like, there's plenty of songs I like, but that I won't play during any type of DJ situation, and then I don't need it in my crates. I have a question about motorized platters on Mixcloud, and the question is, I have an issue with scratching into time properly. I often overshoot or undershoot in timing. Any suggestions? Hope you understand. Correction, I have an issue with scratching into a track in time. I often overshoot or undershoot in timing. Okay, so I understand. What you're talking about is you're going to do a transition, or even if you're dropping it on the one, you're scratching it, a track is playing, and you want to make sure that you release your scratch at the exact right point on that one. And then either you're coming in a little bit before the one or a little bit after the one, which means if you're going to do a transition, you automatically have to go into correction mode, because if you came in a little bit too early, that means your track is a little bit too far ahead, so now you have to slow it down. Or if you came in a little bit too late, you have to speed it up so it can match the other track. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just practice, because I've definitely been there. When I first started to really practice, not scratching, but scratching songs into other songs, that was a problem for me as well. Because you can be in the rhythm and scratching in the rhythm, but you might not be on point enough that you actually release it at that right moment. So I had to get used to being able to do any type of scratch, but then right before it's time to drop it, to release it, to make sure I do a couple of movements in the right tempo. So I could do all sorts of scratches, but right before I release it, most of the times I'll do a quick, simple, just a wiggy wiggy, a baby scratch in the right tempo to release it. Sometimes I still get it wrong. And I mean, we're talking like milliseconds. It's not like I'm missing the mark so much that it's immediately turning into a train wreck, but it's not like I'm spot on with it. I mean, I was just editing my live stream for Monday. I heard plenty of scratches that I released that were not perfect. So it still happens. But with practice, it does become easier. And like I said, you just want to make sure that the last couple of movements before you release are really in that correct tempo of the song you're bringing it into. That can help. See, now for Mixcloud, again, I have to move in a little bit. I can read strawberry. Damn it. It's the monitor. It's a little bit too far. But it's Strawberry the Red Fox with a name in front of it. Hi. So now I have to get my Restream app back up to speed. Are used to spin vinyl using two turntables. How much older now? How much older now? But those were the good old days. You got to have an ear for DJing. It's not a cookie cutter thing. Mood Spin Sound says. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about when I said the difference between just learning the techniques. That's one part of it. But we can all learn the same techniques. But what will make us as individual DJs is how we use those techniques as we DJ. And you need to have an ear. You need to have a feel for the music. At least that helps a lot. Have you used the new Rain 12 second generation? No, I haven't. I have the Rain 12s. I've not used the Mark 2s. Hey, Leonzal's here. Salute to you. How to adjust the jog wheel feeling on the Hercules Impulse 2? I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't have it. So I can't tell. I have a 300 that I still need to test, but I don't have the 200. And the 200, the 300 is a pretty entry level. The 200 is even more entry level. I have no knowledge if it even has a jog wheel feel adjust on it, because a lot of the entry level controllers don't have jog wheel feeling adjust. So there's a possibility that that option is just not there. But Google is your best friend. Let's see. Have you heard of Jim Burgess? Yeah, I know the name. Why do I know the name? I know that name, but somehow I cannot think. There's not a bell ringing who it is. So let me know who that is. Another question. Oh, E. Walters, I see you. Is that E. Walter? No, that's not E. Walter. Sorry, guys. I'll show you the setup in a second because I received a question about streaming. But I have a monitor there, and Mixcloud made the names so freaking small. Like the messages are this big, and then the names are this small. So it's hard to read from here. What is DJ Musica? That is a question. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Do you believe vinyl is coming back? No, I believe vinyl has made a comeback, and that's not my belief. That is a fact. Vinyl has made a comeback. There's more demand for vinyl now compared to 10 years ago. The vinyl press plants that are out there now have their schedule cut out for them. They have a lot of orders, but these are all small orders, mostly from independent artists, indie bands, you name it. So there's more of a demand for vinyl, but not in the sense that it is making a comeback and that the consumer is all of a sudden buying a ton of vinyl. But there's a lot of indie artists that will make orders for like a couple of hundred pieces and sell those like really fast. And probably indie bands that might sell thousands. I'm not sure. I have no numbers. I just know that yes, there's a lot more vinyl being made again, but not to the point that there's like record stores out there and there's a ton of consumers going out just to buy their music on vinyl. So don't expect a comeback where all of a sudden DJs are all playing vinyl again. That's not going to happen. Patrick White, can you do a live on DJs need to not play the way they stream and play music that people know? Just play the songs like this happened for New Year's. Patrick, I'm going to read this question one more time because that first time did not make sense to me. Can you do a live on DJs need to not play the way they stream and play music that people know and just play the song like this is happening for New Year's? I still don't get the question. I'm trying. I'm not sure what you mean with the question. So maybe rephrase it. Hey, Vinyl Touch in the building. Salute to Vinyl Touch. Happy New Year. Again, I think. I think we did that on Monday already. Have you dabbled using Ableton Live in your mixes? No, not yet. Trying to find resources on how to learn. I have Ableton here. Still need to just wrap my my brain around it. And how long did it take me to learn how to DJ? I honestly don't know. I mean, I know I started, and I just know I just practiced and got better, but I can't pinpoint like a certain specific point. Like, yeah, it was then that I could DJ. So I'm not sure. I just knew I was practicing every single day. That's for sure. I was at it every single day. It was said by Grandmaster Flash, if you ain't on wax, you were never really a DJ. Personally, I believe that too. Nah, I'm just not with that. The thing to me is it makes no sense to me. It's like telling people that are born now that if they go out and buy a car that they're not a real driver, that they have to start with horse and carriage, otherwise they're not real riders. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It just doesn't. We started out on vinyl, and I'm not putting myself and Grandmaster Flash in the same category, but we as DJs, he's from even an earlier era than I'm from. But when we started, turntables were your only option. That's why we were all on turntables and using vinyl. That's just what it is. Now, I still prefer the feeling of turntables over anything. That's why my preferred setup is still 2 turntables and a mixer. I love the feeling of it. Nothing compares to it for me. But it just makes no sense to me to tell DJs that are just born after me and they were introduced to DJing during the CDJ era, for instance, or even after that, the controller era. And they learn how to DJ on that. They know their music. They're skilled. They know how to read a crowd. They play the right songs. They have the techniques. They mastered the techniques. That they're not a real DJ because they didn't play on vinyl. I mean, I cannot subscribe to that thought in any shape, form, or fashion. Just doesn't work for me. But anyone can believe what they want to believe. But I would never judge a DJ's if I think a DJ is a good DJ on that. If a DJ plays on CDJs, I've never seen this DJ before. I'll watch the set. This DJ rocks the crowd, plays dope tracks, has great technique, everything. I can then say right then and there, that was a dope DJ. That DJ played a dope set. I'm not going to be like, I have to see that DJ play on vinyl before I can say that's a real DJ. Come on, man. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't work for me. That thought process doesn't work for me at all. Chris on the mix. Happy New Year. I see you. And Nick Music on Mixcloud. What's your take on the Pioneer XDJ XZ? I've never used it. I've never used it. It looks like a beast of a machine, but I've never used it. But I mean, with my experience on Pioneer devices, I think I would like it. Like, I mean, I love the XDJ RX series, for instance, looking at standalone devices, and the controllers that are kind of similar to that, also like those. So I think I would like that one a lot, but I've never used it. Patrick White, yes, you're watching on Facebook, and I'm also streaming on YouTube right now. DJ TLM TV on YouTube. Let's see. Did I miss something here? Just checking if I didn't miss anything. See, that's why I didn't even open IG yet. There's already a lot happening here, and I haven't even talked about the questions that I already received on Instagram. When I get to those questions, I will open Instagram up as well. Levi, was good. Happy New Year. Quick question on looping. Where do I bring in the other track, on the one or somewhere else? That is hard for me to answer in this format. So what are you looping? That's why it's really hard for me to give an answer. It's really hard. You have to give me a clearer explanation of the situation. Then I can maybe give you an answer. So Chris on the mix, the Reloop Elite. So I for a scratch session, I really like the Reloop Elite. I used it on Monday during crates for my mix. And I've said this before when I used the mixer. I would need to just sit with that mixer for a week or two and use nothing else and truly explore it. I still haven't done that. That's my mistake. So coming from mostly a Pioneer background and also using my 72, my Rain 72 a lot. Before that, also my Vestax mixers. But let's just stick to the category of the modern day controller scratch mixer. So the S9, S7, S11, Rain 72, Rain 70, those type of mixers. Reloop Elite is in that family. The workflow is just a little bit different. So one thing, the effects, and I have that problem a little bit with the 72, but not as much, but especially with the Elite, there's no onboard effects, so you're triggering effects in the software. I actually don't use the effects in the software. I'm so used to my Pioneer mixers all having the onboard effects. That's always a thing for me. Like, oh, now I have to set up the effects in Serato. But the way you control them on the Elite is also just a little bit different because it's not the paddles that you have on the S series from Pioneer, but also on the Rain 72 and 70. They have on-off switch. You have the 3 different effects buttons for different effects in the software. And then you have a fader that you have to move up and down to control the amount of effect you want. And I just have a hard time using that on the fly. So I stayed away from that. Then the queuing is also different. Like every time I use the Elite during a set, I noticed that the combination of the music and my microphone is really different compared to how I hear it on the other mixers. On the other mixers, it's very clear to me like, okay, this is the balance that I have between my microphone and my music. On the Elite, I never hear my mic clearly, but I know it's already on. I don't want to turn it up too much. I did that during one set because I thought it needed to be louder. Then I saw the replay of the stream, and I was clipping. So There's a couple of things on that mixer that don't work for me now. If I sit with it, test everything properly, like you should do, but I don't do that enough, then I'll get it to work for me. But for now, if I have a choice and I'm doing a set, I'm picking my Pioneer or Rain. For the scratch session or any scratch session, I mean, the fader is dope, works well. So I had no problem using it for that. Andy K says, I'm a lot older than you, so I'm not hip to the new thing. But I can tell you when I was spinning that are used to take the same records and mix them together. You used to take the same records and mix them together. Now, first off, I mean, I don't know how old you are, Andy, so I don't know how far apart we are. But are you saying that you just used to do the same mix over and over again when you went to play? Okay, so Leonzo, you asked this question. I'm going to repeat the question. The question is, how do I get notified about new music from different artists without having to follow the artist? So first off, you asked this question. When did you ask this? You asked this question like recently. Yeah, you asked this question during the premiere of my video version of the podcast. That was on Monday. You were in the chat there. And I've noticed this a couple of times that you asked questions, but somehow you missed the answer because I already answered you there. I did answer you there with a question. And my question at that time was, why wouldn't you want to follow an artist if you want to know about their music? So that is my question to you again. Like, why you don't want to follow the artist, but you do want to know when they have new music. Well, first off, if you join the DJ pool, most of the times you will find out when they have new music, if the promos get out there. But if you don't follow them, then yeah, you're not going to get notified. You're going to have to stay on point. You're going to still have to open up your Spotify on a daily or weekly basis to see what are the new releases. And it makes it a lot easier if you do follow those artists, because then you will get the notification. So I'm not sure what the thought process is here. Because, for instance, on Spotify, there's a lot of artists that I like their music. So what do? I follow them so that I get notified when they have a new release. I want to know when they have a new release, so I follow them. It's not like a social media platform, let's say like Instagram, that if I follow you, now I have to get all of these posts on my timeline. That's not really how it works on the streaming platforms. So for me, it doesn't really mind. I don't mind following those artists, for instance, on a platform like Spotify. And yeah, Andy, I know about Studio 54, indeed. And I mean, that tells me, yes, you are older than me, but maybe you already mentioned how old. FX Mafia, how do you get free horn sound, etc.? So once again, Google is your best friend. Just Google free samples or Google free horn sound. Trust me, you're going to find a link, because that's available online for free. There's definitely sites that have like free samples that you can download, free sounds. That air horn is in there for sure. And Favor says, do you have your own music? Any remixes or mixtapes on iTunes or any record pools? So no, I do not have music in record pools. I have, of course, my beats available on SoundCloud, and I have some of the beats that I made are available on Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that. I don't have, I have one release that's on my Spotify and Apple Music, and there's a lot of songs that I produced for artists, especially for Brainpower. Those are available online, but not in record pools, no. Jim Sounds, salute to my DJ bros. DJ Kylo is here, salute to you. Still waiting on your review of the SE 6000M. That's going to be, I don't know how long that's going to be. I still haven't used it. I've actually been in contact with them again, but the first thing, hopefully I will get to test finally And I know a lot of you have been asking for it. I don't know when, but the first thing I would want to test is the Rain 1 and not the SC 6000. So I don't know. K-Dub says, I currently own Tractor Pro 3. I want to buy the older Pioneer DDJ SP1 subcontroller for the hot cues. Everything about it references Serato. Is it compatible with Tractor? I mean, it's an add-on controller. I'm pretty sure you should be able to just MIDI map it. So maybe there's already a mapping available for that. Just check for that online. But it is MIDI. Okay, Mixmaster G is also saying the same thing. Like, it's MIDI. You should be able to map it. Oh, Andy, got you. Jim Burgess was the biggest DJ. So maybe I've seen him in some documentaries or something, because I remember that name. Das Hog, what up? Yeah, the podcast is back for sure. So the new episode went live on Sunday. That's the audio version. Video version of that is coming next Monday. Now that one, the last podcast was a little bit different because it was just a recap of last year. But from now on, like, every episode is going to be just one single topic, so I can just get a little bit more, just dive deeper into it. And indeed, DJ Tech Tools is a site that you can check for the MIDI mapping, K-Dub. Kenny, what can a DJ do if it's taking them too long to put together prepared transitions and sets? So what would be the end goal? You want to learn how to do that faster, or just not do that? I mean, one thing you can do if you don't want to spend too much time preparing sets is learn how to play freestyle. That is an option, but that also will take a lot of just practice. You have to start playing for people, learning how to read their reactions and go off that. And my question would be, what is taking so long to put together the prepared transitions? So this is not a one single answer. There will be more information needed, because let's just imagine it's taking too long to put together a prepared set with prepared transitions because you're having trouble with the transitions. Well, maybe it means that you're just not ready on a skill level to actually go there, and you just need to practice more before you're ready for that. Maybe you don't know your music well enough, so it just takes a long time to find tracks that are going to work together. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be a factor here. DJ Zero. I believe if you got, so when you got the beat, you know how to come in and you'll set. Okay. GK the DJ. What's good? How far behind am I? 13 minutes already. Wow. Jim Sound says the SX is for the bedroom. No, I would disagree. If you take something like a SX3, you can, I mean, now let me rephrase. A DDJ 400 is an entry-level controller. You could rock a set at a club with that. But if you take a DDJ 400 and you take a look at a SX3, that's a world of difference already. So saying that it is for the bedroom, I disagree. I mean, of course, a lot of people, when they play in clubs, they want to play on the CDJs or on the bigger things. But the SX series had quite a lot to offer. It's not a DDJ 1000, of course, but yeah, it's not that far away from it either. Okay, let's see, Patrick. Trying to say, when DJs play for people outside of streaming, they need to not play the way they stream, all that scratching and cutting songs short. Okay, I got you. I kind of thought you were referencing something like that, but I understand. I think it depends. I see DJs that just play the way they play in clubs when they're streaming. So DJs that I know, and I've seen them during the pandemic streaming, and I can tell, like, okay, they play the same way I've seen them play in the club. No difference. That's their choice. My choice is to be more free when I'm streaming, because this is my stream. Anyone who wants to tune in can tune in. If they don't tune in, I'm still going to have my fun and just do whatever comes to mind. But then again, if I'm playing in a club, I'm playing with a different mindset, because I know that this is not me at home or in the studio doing a stream. So I think what you're saying applies mostly to people who are streaming now, but who haven't actually played for people in real life. So if people now during the pandemic, they were bedroom DJs and now they started streaming and playing, yes, there's going to be a difference when you stream from your bedroom compared to when you get to a venue and have people in front of you. So there's definitely a difference there. That is not something, though, that you can just tell someone. So if they've never done that before, it's going to be, I can tell someone who's never played for people and they've done streaming, like, hey, when you get to play for people, it's going to be different. Me just saying it is not enough. They're going to have to actually experience that. Now, of course, the tip would be, like, don't treat this like your stream. You're not playing for yourself. You're actually playing for the people. So the crowd is even more important, or a lot more important, compared to when you're streaming. Marvin, salute. Marvin, I actually have not found out how to do the to find the beat source thing that we were talking about Monday. So I still need to, I'm going to send a message to find out. Is it looping when you have two of the same songs together and you try to mix the van? Can you please help me out with that? Try to mix the van. I'm trying to see what the mix the van means. Vest, what's good? Salute. So Andy, I'm not sure what that means, the mix the van sentence. Let's see what happened. What happened on Mixcloud? DJ, damn it, can't read the name again. DJ T something. When should you start a DJ LLC? That's a real hard one for me to answer. I'm not in the US. I don't know how LLCs work exactly. So I'm not really sure, or I'm not sure at all, because I don't know how a LLC works. Like, again, I'm not from the States. I don't know how rules and regulations are, how everything works business-wise. So that's a tough one for me to answer. So anyone in the chat, my US-based people who are familiar with actually having their own DJ LLC, if you could jump in the chat, that will be dope. I will have to convey it because it's a question from Mixcloud, so that person cannot see what we're discussing on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Levi says, I'm not looping anything yet, but can you just give me an idea how to go about it on anything you've done? Okay, so what you can do is go to your own YouTube, your own DJ TLM TV. I have a video on my channel about looping, and I show a couple different examples of how you can use loops for transitions. So that could be a starting point. So make sure on my channel, just go to the search feature and search function and look for loop. I think what's the video called? 5 ways to use the loop feature, something like the loop function. I think it's called 5 ways to use the loop function. I'm not exactly sure. It's like an 8-year-old video. And Das Hog says, legit DJs mix wax cylinders. There we go. Yolanda was good. How do you get free horn sounds? Wait, were you the same person asking, or was there someone else before? Oh, wait, different platform. So I have to assume that you're the same person who was on YouTube first. So again, Oh, Jasmine has an even better answer for you, so you don't have to Google. You can go to freesounds.org. And my answer was Google is your best friend, because if you just Google free horn sound, you're going to get plenty of links that will take you there. Jasmine, salute. Marty Moore Wilson was good. I haven't used my DDJ 1000 since I bought the Rain 1. I'm stuck on if I should sell it or keep it. Yeah, I understand. I mean, having more gear is like cool or whatever. But if you know you have pieces of gear laying around and you never use them, and chances are you're not going to use them again, a DDJ 1000 might still get you some cash. So maybe selling is a good option. But I don't know your situation. I mean, maybe having a second device is dope. I don't know. Darrell says, do you recommend having a mixer with your DJ gear for streaming and live on-site sessions? So you're talking like a normal mixer, I have to assume? Recommend having a mixer with your DJ gear for streaming. I think all of that totally depends on your setup and your needs. So for instance, for me, when I'm live streaming here, I don't have like a separate mixer. The output from my DJ mixer just goes straight into either my ATA Mini Pro or straight into the sound card on the computer. So no extra mixer added in my case. Noah was good. I was wondering if you could recommend any DJ courses, videos to give me an introduction to DJing. There's a lot of them out there. There's like a lot of them out there. So of course, I mean, Digital DJ Tips has a lot of them. Then you have Crossfader. They have a lot of them. And I've not done any of these courses, so it's really hard for me to say like, hey, this is the one you should try. Yeah. So Digital DJ Tips and Crossfader, those two alone will give you plenty of options. Christopher Murphy, what's your goals for 2022? To put it really simple, to just oversimplify to the fullest, consistency. That's my number one goal. Consistency in everything. Consistency in creating, but also actually releasing content. Consistency in addressing health and nutrition. Consistency in everything. So that's just oversimplifying, but that's actually the best answer I can give you, because I don't want to get into what I have planned. That's a mistake I've made before. So I'm not talking about what I have planned. It's all about show. So not talking, but actually doing. But consistency for me is very important. That is the goal for 2022. DJ Sirius, I just redid what I said on Facebook, brother. Did you see it? Wait, did I see it? No. This is the first message I see from you, DJ Sirius, that I saw from you. So I think if there's something I missed, let me know. Vinyl Touch says you can rock out on anything. I agree. Raf says, what's your fave DJ software for DVS? I mean, for me, Serato is still my number one. And first off, because I've been using it the longest, so I'm the most familiar with it. It has never let me down. So Serato would still be number one. That being said, I've used Rekordbox. Rekordbox works great. I've used Traktor just with the S4 Mark III. It works great when I use it. But if I have to choose right now, it's still Serato. If you use echo in a transition, how much echo? So, Leonzo, I have you here again. And I think I've used the same answer I'm going to use now for a bunch of your questions. So, pay attention. There are no set rules when it comes to this. Every situation is different, because I remember you had a lot of questions that were in the same setting as this one. So if you use echo in a transition, there's not one setting. There's no rule that says when you use echo, you have to have this much echo. You've asked the same question in regards to volume and I think reverb, like how far must the knob be? That is something you have to experiment with. So there is no set answer for that. That's no rule. You can use echo in your transitions. You can use reverb in your transitions. You can use a low pass and a high pass filter in your transitions. You can use scratching in a transition. How much is too much? You're going to have to experiment with that. So if you use, for instance, a reverb, when you open a reverb up a lot, it becomes a pretty massive sound, overwhelming sound, which is not pretty. Sonically, it's not pleasing. You can have too much echo, and then it can become a mess. You're going to have to experiment with that and find out what your taste is. I know some people who prefer to have a lot more reverb in there than I would put in there. Are they wrong? No, they're not. That's their flavor, their style. So you shouldn't ask how much you should do when it comes to applying effects and stuff like that. That is going to make you, you. And you're going to have to experiment. And in certain cases, you might not even hear if it's good. And maybe you are doing it too much. And then someone hopefully will tell you like, hey, maybe you should ease on that echo a little bit. But there's no rules for that. And Favor, I appreciate that about that one release. I actually have to put it up again, if I'm not mistaken. It went. I switched distribution, so now I have to get it up to the platforms again. John Willett says Serato has made it easier for vinyl DJ gigs, and I disagree. Everybody has preference on the earlier statement. True. True story. Mice infested building I was in ruined all my DJ gear, left me with a laptop. Ooh. Damn. And a Hercules controller, I can still get down with that. What? And a Hercules controller, can I still get down with that? Hey, if it works for you, of course you can. Raider V3, what's good? I'm learning how to scratch from your videos. So far, I'm in the second video because I want to take it slow. I'm using a Numark Mixtrack Pro, first version. Yeah. Hey, that's the great way to approach it. A lot of people want to move too fast. They want to start learning how to do it and get into like crazy techniques by week 3. You want to really take your time to actually master the techniques, because those fundamental techniques, those first techniques, they come back in everything. So the baby scratch isn't just something you apply when you do the baby scratch. You're doing the baby scratch a ton of the time. Even when you're not doing that because you're incorporating the fader in a different way, you're still doing that same movement. You're still just doing that same rhythmic movement. Fader control, everything. So starting with the basics, really learning how to do that, it will help with the scratches that come later on. Big V, salute. Megawatt was popping. And Christopher Murphy said, do you have any tips for dropping on anything but the one? Yeah, sure. So I've talked about doing transitions and either mixing or just dropping a song on the one. Are there other options? Yes, there are. This setup is making me bump into this, by the way. I have to watch that. There are other options. You can drop something on the 2. You can drop something on the in-between count. It's all possible, but that also means that you have to start the other song from a different point. What I mean by that is, if I have a song playing and I have a new song ready, if I'm going to drop that song on the 1, I'm dropping that new song at its 1. I'm dropping it on the 1 at the 1. Now, if I want to bring the song in on the 2, I can do that. But then I'm not bringing it in from its 1. I have to bring it in from its 2. So let's take a beat where you have a kick and a snare. You have that kick on the 1, and you have that snare on the 2. Then if I'm bringing it in, and I've done that multiple times, that I'm bringing in a song, but I don't bring it in on the 1, I'm bringing it in on the 2. I'm bringing it in on the snare. I also have to make sure I'm bringing it in on the snare on that new song. Because if that new song is on the 1 and I'm dropping it on the 2, you're messing up. You're going to hear that's like Trainwreck City. That's all the way wrong. So yes, you can drop it on anything but the 1 for sure. But you also have to make sure that the song that you're bringing in is going to correspond with that point. Whenever you release it, once you let it go, it should still be in phrase. So I hope you understand what I mean by that, just saying it instead of being able to show it. All right, I'm going to bring, what time is it? I'll bring IG in like 5 minutes. Big V says, once you start making money enough, once you start making enough money that you can make a living off of it, or enough is coming in that you want to start paying taxes on it, that's when you start an LLC. So that is for the LLC question. As long as doing bars and clubs here and there, you're not making a living off it, there's really no need. Got you. I mean, I can see that. I think things are a little bit similar here. I just don't know if an LLC works the same way it works here, where there's different ways that you can sign yourself up as a business. So I can sign myself up here as a one-man business, so I'm self-employed, or you can have something where it's a company with more people involved. There's different things. There's other company structures as well, but then you have to have like a start capital. That's going to be probably different in every country. That's why I don't want to speak on things that I do not know, and I do not know how an LLC works. But in general, I totally understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense to sign yourself up as a business if it's really not a business. If it's a business, you need to be making money. So that makes sense for sure. Marvin, how is it with your music production? It's actually going pretty well. It's going pretty well. I've made more beats in the last couple of months. Actually, last year. A couple new releases that I produced. Releases by Brainpower that came out in the last like year. I think I did four tracks that came out in the last 12 months. Those are tracks that came out for Brainpower, so songs I produced. But when it comes to beats, I made a ton more. When it comes to beats, Brainpower also has a couple more beats that are going to be turned into songs still. And yeah, just experimenting with more stuff. And I still love working with Machine, and I make my beats either on the computer, just in Machine, but a lot of times my beats will start on my phone or on the iPad using iMachine. So that way, anytime when I have like 5 minutes, I can just start a beat and then finish it in the computer. But that is going well, and I just really have a lot of fun doing that. So I hope to be able to spend as much time on that as possible. And yeah, so some of the productions have come out and are coming out on vinyl as well. No, I can't show you the other one yet. I'll do that in a future episode. There's a couple of things that are coming out on vinyl, and that contain productions of mine as well. Super dope looking vinyl for the vinyl heads out there. Show y'all that. Vest says, with the current demand on DJ gear and low supply, you might be able to resell a DDJ 1000 close to retail. That's a very good point, because it is a fact that some equipment, not all, but the good, I don't want to say the good equipment, but some of the more in demand devices, let's say like a Rain 1. I heard there's like a shortage when it comes to the Rain 1. DDJ 1000, probably the same thing. Those are reputable, not just reputable brands, but also like they're better devices. If there's a lot of people out there that want something like that and they're hard to get right now, this would be a better time to sell if you have one laying around. So that's a very good point indeed. Mario Baskin, appreciate that. DJ since 1974. Yeah. Game has changed so much. Indeed. Love better than lugging them crates. Thank you. I agree. I totally agree. Like that's something. I mean, I love my vinyl, and I have a lot of fun doing my monthly vinyl stream. Even though every time I do it, you do notice your limitations compared to what we can do with the newer technology. But I love doing it. And even then, just doing it here in the studio, after I'm done, it's a mess with the vinyl that I used. And that's in the studio. I can just put it back in the wall here. Thinking back to all the gigs I did when I would have to carry, like I would bring like at least 3 crates, carry them after a long night. You have to carry them from the car back to the house. Then you get back home. Then you have to like check like some of my sleeves. The vinyl didn't go into the sleeve. I have to sort that all out again. I mean, I love the time I had then, but I don't miss it at all. I don't miss it at all. Leon Billups, salute to you. Matt Wiley in the building. How hard do you have to press down to stop your record from spinning? Not that hard, but it does depend on the type of player you're using. I mean, I remember the first time the Vestax turntables came out. Their torque, so the power of the motor was different compared to what I was used to from the Technics players that I was using. So, and just to take it back even further, like my first turntables were belt drive Technics turntables, so not the SL1200s. Those had no power. So you would actually, when you were scratching, you couldn't just let them go. You actually also have to give them like a little push, because if you didn't, they would start out slow and build up again. Technics had a lot more power, so I didn't have to do as much. The Vestax was more powerful. The torque was just more torque. So you had to apply a different amount of pressure to stop it and control it. So it's going to be a little bit different per turntable, but I never find that I have to like press it down hard to make it stop spinning. So Vinyl Touch says, and that's a good answer as well, like you only apply enough pressure to stop the record if you're stopping the platter below. So let me make sure I'm saying it right. You only have to apply a little bit of pressure if you want to just stop the vinyl, because the vinyl will stop and underneath the platter can keep spinning because there's a slip mat in between. If you're pressing it down and you're actually stopping the entire thing, then you're pressing down really hard. There's no real need for that. I mean, the platter doesn't really need to stop spinning. The record, that's not that. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to stop that. On the subject of echo and other effects, I record my practice set, then listen on the next day. I can definitely tell I overdid it. Also works with EQing and so on. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is why there's not one answer. I can't tell Raph like, hey, this is the amount of effect you have to apply. I could say that, but what if I'm really low on levels? So I use like a little bit of the echo. And maybe Raph likes more echo. And I tell him like, hey, this is the amount you should use. No, that works for me, maybe not for Raph. And yes, at home when you're practicing, sometimes you don't hear it well enough. So recording your set and listening back is going to give you a better perspective. Like, oh, okay, that was a lot. That was a lot. Maybe I should cut it down. Oh, I didn't really hear enough. Maybe I need to increase. Hey, DJ Philip Tan in the building. Salute. I appreciate those bits. Megawatt the DJ says, meta is the word of the week. What's your take on it? To be honest, for me, it hasn't been the word of the week, and I have not been paying attention to that at all. So no real take on it for now. No real take on it right now. I don't know. Are we just talking about meta, just Facebook officially turning into meta? Or are we talking about the implementation of like people being in the metaverse and all that thing? I mean, no, we're sticking to DJ related. Even though I was talking to someone last month who's not like a real DJ, but she DJs in a virtual world. And I still need to get more info about that, how that exactly works. But no, I don't have a real take on it right now. Nara says, does the 2-verse, 2-hook rule still apply? With so many of the new songs out are only 2 verses and 2 hooks. So it depends on what is the 2-verse 2-hook rule, because to me it's not there's no such rule. I mean, I do have my normal play style is that if I'm warming up, I let songs play longer. So if I'm doing a warm-up set, chances are I will play a lot of songs, at least 2 verses and 2 hooks. Compared to when I'm playing prime time, a lot of times it's going to be 1 verse, 1 hook. But there's no like real rule. If the crowd is really feeling a song, I will play it longer. If I was planning to do 2 verses, but I can tell that no one's feeling it, it's not even making 1 verse. But that being said, let's just say you're in the 2-verse, 2-hook mindset at the moment. That's what you're doing with songs. A lot of new songs are short. That's a fact. Like there was a time when like your standard single release would be like 3 minutes something. So even if people had longer album versions, their radio version would be shorter because they knew on the radio people were not going to play like 6-minute versions. So at a certain point, it was like 3 minutes, whatever. Now, a lot of artists are making 2-minute songs. Sometimes 2.5, but a lot of times like 2 minutes or even shorter. I believe one of the reasons they do it is because it will trigger people to replay. And on the streaming services, replays pay. So if you have one song that's 6 minutes and it's being played once, or the other artist has a song that's just barely 2 minutes and people play it 3 times in that same 6 minutes, that's 3 times pay versus 1 times pay. So, but if the songs are shorter and they're only 2 verses, 2 hooks, and I'm in a set where I'm playing songs 2 verses, 2 hooks, then it means that I'm playing that entire song. That's it. And that's perfectly fine too. So to me, there's not really a change just because songs are shorter. I'll play that entire song. And if I'm playing that short song prime time, I'm still probably playing it only 1 verse, 1 hook. All right, John Willett. Let's see, how long ago was that? Okay, I'm 10 minutes behind. I'm getting a little bit closer. Thanks for tuning in. And minus 37 sounds like it's pretty cold. It's getting cold here in Amsterdam too. So today, like during the day, it was 7. Now, I'm not in the Fahrenheit. This is Celsius territory. But my app told me like, hey, it's 7 degrees, but the field temperature was -1. And yeah, it was pretty chill out there. Or chill, getting pretty cold out there. Dale Oliver was good. They're a single member LLC as well. That's what I am. So yeah, I think that's comparable to what I am here. Question, where do you post your beats and tracks? SoundCloud. So SoundCloud is where you can find the beats that I use for the Saturday sessions. Those are all on there. There's beats that I use for my mix tutorial series and scratch tutorial series. And then there are some beats that either the same version that's on SoundCloud or a modified version of that is on Spotify. So for instance, my last release on the streaming platforms, so I keep saying Spotify, but it's on all the streaming platforms. The last one I did was Road Trip. It's an instrumental, and it's basically the beat that was used for the Saturday Super Session, the last Saturday Super Session. But it has a little bit of a different arrangement compared to the one that I gave DJs for that session. So that one was a simplified version. The one that's on the streaming platforms has a little bit of a different arrangement, and it's a little bit longer. But SoundCloud is where most of my beats are. A lot of those are older beats. I have a ton of new beats, and a lot of times I check first because, for instance, if I know there's a chance this beat might be used by Brainpower or other artists, I'm going to check that first before I use it for a session and post it on SoundCloud. But that's where you can find some of the beats. Are you into sampling when making beats? Yeah. I mean, I come from that era. I come from the sampling era 1000%. That's it's the type of hip hop beat that I love most, the sample-based hip hop beats. I've made a lot of beats using samples. Nowadays, I also just use a lot of samples that are available online. You have like a lot of royalty-free samples that are available Cymatics has some very dope samples. Splice has some dope stuff as well. But most of the times, even when I grab samples off there, I still try to use them in a way that is not just the sample. Sometimes I do. So sometimes I might take a sample from somewhere from a pack and just use it the way it is. But I think like 95% of the time, when I have a sample, either that I took from vinyl or took from a website or wherever, I want to work it in a way that it doesn't sound like the original. But yes, I love sampling. Mario says, I wish I had this tech back in 74, but I'm happy I was able to start back then. So Mario, what I will tell you, I do think that we have a different appreciation when it comes to new tech compared to people who are born into the new tech. That's no knock on people that were born later. And I mean, you are definitely older than I am. But because we went through that vinyl stage and we know the hassle that it can also bring, you really appreciate the fact that now you don't have to carry around that vinyl. Like a kid that grows up now hasn't felt that pain. So to them, like, hey, controller is cool, but they don't realize that, hey, this controller means, or this DVS system means that I don't have to carry crates. They don't even know what the crates look like. Let's see. Megawatt says, I'm in turn of DJing in the metaverse, buying landscape to promote, etc. Okay, so Mixmaster G says we had the same situation with Second Life back in the day. For now, I would say sit back and see what it becomes. I'm sure it can be the future, but I don't think its final form has materialized yet. I agree 1000%. Like that's why I don't get too crazy when it comes to stuff like this, because I know it takes a ton of time. But in this case, when it comes to like just like the metaverse, I haven't done proper research to speak on it. That's why I don't speak on it yet. What platform do you prefer when searching for music most? Nowadays, I don't have a lot of time to search for music, like to actually sit down and spend time. So when I open my Spotify, I see a lot of new notifications because, yes, I do just follow artists that I like, so I get notified. I think that is just great that it's there. DJ City, and I get my emails from BeatSource that tell me what new stuff they have. Then there's artists that I just follow on YouTube, so if they have a release, then I see it there. But it's not like I'm actively searching just because I don't have time. Also because I'm not DJing that often, and there's no need for me to have the newest at the very first moment. Now, even if I was DJing 7 times a week, I still don't need the newest because your crowd is never waiting for the newest. Unless it's like the biggest artist on the planet, and then everyone already knows when a new release is out. But I mean, during most of my DJ career, I loved having the newest tracks. But the downside was that, like, most of the times you were not getting the reaction that you want to get because your crowd didn't know the song. And unfortunately, if the crowd doesn't know the song, the reaction is never going to be like super hype. So that's why there's no real rush for me at the moment to say, like, hey, I have to make sure I get the newest. There was a time that when I was already in the digital era, following all of the blogs, making sure you check out the Two Dope Boys and whatever, all of the blogs to see what they have, finding all sorts of links to tracks that aren't out yet to make sure you get it the second it's available anywhere. Nowadays, that's not that necessary, for me at least. So, okay, that also answers your next question. How often do you search? So just not actively, but I open Spotify every day because I listen to music every day. So I open Spotify every day and I see notifications. And for DJ City and Beat Source, I get notifications as well. DJ Serve One, DJing in Meta. Okay, got you. So I've heard a couple people talk about that. Hip Hop Superman says, I'm learning to scratch and juggle on my NS7 III. I want to eventually transition to full-size turntables mixer. Is there anything that may make the transition difficult? 7 versus 12-inch vinyl, for example. I don't know. I don't like it's hard for me to say because I started on vinyl and then I started to use an NS7, and I was in love with the NS7 because yes, the platters were smaller, but it had that turntable feel. So I can tell you, like, feel-wise, it is very similar. So I assume it's not going to cause you that much difficulty. I mean, there might be a little bit of a difference between the position, meaning that there might be a little bit more space between your fader and your turntable, your platter, compared to how it is on your NS7, but not that much even. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna bother you that much. I can hardly imagine. You're used to the vinyl feel, so yeah. I think you'll be okay. Okay, so Bang and Mash from Amsterdam do their sets in a metaverse-like setting, even before Mark dropped the word. They're on Twitch too. Oh, now we have two bots on Twitch. Let me just take care of that real quick, even though it's not that crazy. Let's see. Boom. All right. Do you prefer weddings or club gigs? So I'm not a mobile DJ, so the answer is club gigs. I don't do mobile gigs, and I haven't done any proper mobile gig. I've done a couple of weddings, but at those weddings, I was booked to play the way I play in clubs. So that was for me the same thing as a club gig. So that's my bread and butter. That's what I'm used to. I have a ton of respect for mobile DJs. They have to do a lot, but it's not my cup of tea. Like, I'd rather play in a club where there's just a theme. People who come there for that theme. There's not a chance that I'm going to have to play for anyone going from kids to grandparents and anything in between, having to play a ton of different genres and with special requests from the bride and having to announce stuff. I mean, I don't think that's something I would really enjoy. So for me, it's not even a choice. I'm a club DJ. That's all I've done my entire career. Mohammed says, is online radio a good idea? I think so, because it's been around for a long time. So I assume your question is if it's a good idea for you to play. It could be. So let's just say you at the moment you don't have a lot of gigs, or maybe you don't have gigs. Having an online radio thing means you get to play somewhere, and it can possibly also give you some exposure, and it will introduce you to a different side of DJing, because an online radio gig is not going to be exactly the same thing as playing in a club. If you have a ton of gigs and a lot happening, I don't know if you need online radio, and I think it also depends on what kind of station it is and what kind of following they have. But yeah, there's pros and cons to playing online radio. Same way like people stream now. It could be a good thing, but if you don't have a lot of time because you have a lot of gigs, you're probably not going to do streams right now. And looking where I look for instrumentals and acapellas. Now, during my normal streams, I'm using Beat Source, but if I want them, I mean, again, I'm not actively looking, but I get a lot of my music from DJ City, and a lot of times they will have instrumentals, sometimes acapellas. If I just need that on the fly, there's also other options. I can make my own using RX. I have RX8 here, and I can just use that. Hey, what's happening here? Oh, really? Okay. No, we're still streaming. We're good. I see I have to clean up my computer, make some more space. So beyond that, I'm not really actively looking for instrumentals and acapellas. And then we have another Mixmaster, but that's Mixmaster Jasid, I see you. Salute on Mixcloud. All right, let me quickly catch up and then add IG in here. How do you like playing on Rotary mixers? I actually have not played on a Rotary mixer before. But to me, it looks. No, I don't want to say it looks awful. But I'm so a crossfader guy and a fader guy that looking at a mixer with just knobs on it, it freaked me out when I saw it. So, but I have no experience playing with it. Hip Hop Superman, I appreciate that. The MJ routine. Let's see. On the subject of DJing in a virtual world, I DJ on Second Life, a virtual world with virtual clubs. My broadcast goes to Shoutcast servers, and the others in the world automatically connect to the Shoutcast server to listen in. VR chat is similar, but they use Twitch for broadcasting. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's been done before, indeed. Seems as if this place I should be. Salute everyone. Megawatt salute. Big V says, if it wasn't for the new tech, I don't know if I still would be DJing. Since I became legally blind, new tech helps me a lot. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, man, I love the new tech. It really, it does bring so many possibilities. Even if you prefer like a pretty basic DJ style, having those options is just killer. Fly DJ Eli, hey, salute. How do you bring so much sauce every time you get behind the decks? Glad to see you back at it. Yeah, it was fun on Monday. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm just having fun. I think that's the most important thing. Just having fun, having tracks, having tracks that you've been wanting to play and being able to play them. And that's what I love about the streaming and the freedom. I can actually play whatever I want to play. But it's what I love doing. So I'm gonna have a good time doing it. And I think that is what maybe what you call in this case the sauce, what brings the sauce. Because I'm still fully freestyle, and even the crates that I have aren't that prepared as I want to prepare them. Like I wish every time I do my sets, the songs at least are properly prepared with all the cues and loops in there, because then the sets would be better. I can tell you that, but I'm just having a ton of fun doing it. And oh yeah, Vess, my bad. Yes, the kids do know what crates look like thanks to the milk crate challenge last year. Indeed. But then again, they don't associate that with like being full of vinyl. Mixmaster G says, I'm from the era that my source for new tracks was the Tip Parade section from the top 40, available each Thursday at my local record store. And it was radio broadcasted each Saturday. So it gave me enough time to be up to speed for my Friday gig. Yep. The Tip Parade. That's taking it way back indeed. Nara says, speaking on new songs, one of the many philosophies I go by is the DJ's job is to educate the listener. So breaking out new records is still important to have the crowd go, ooh, what's this? I love this. Or is it better to just stick with the crowd already knows? Now, see, that's the problem. That's the dilemma we deal with, because, yes, I agree. And this is my thing. I always wanted to have the new songs. I'm going to start IG, by the way, so they can get in there. I always wanted to play the new songs. That was the thing I love most. I was one of those people who was always, when I did go out, even before I was DJing, if I would hear a song that I didn't know and I liked it, I would actually want to go up to the DJ to ask, like, what is this? Or I heard a song, but it was a remix, so I never heard that version before. And I was like, what is this? That's my philosophy indeed. The problem is a lot of people, like your audience, a lot of your audience doesn't feel like that. IG, What's going on? I'm in the middle of my Share the Knowledge live. I just thought I'd add IG in for a minute. We've been at it for about 90 minutes. I'm going to do like 30, 40 more minutes. So I welcome you all in. I'm going to check who's here in a second. I'm finishing a question here first, but I just want to get y'all in here. If you want to be part of this live session, I'm here every Wednesday streaming live on YouTube, Mixcloud, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you want to be part of it from the start, make sure you just follow me on any of those platforms and come check there. But I'm just adding IG here now. Share the Knowledge Live, weekly DJ Q&A. So back to the question now. So yes, for me, that's the way I felt. Like I wish I would have a crowd filled with people that if they hear a new song and they don't know it and they like it, they're like, ooh, what's this? Unfortunately, that's just not the case. I've had it happen too many times that you play a brand new track. And I've told this story like a ton of times, but I'll tell it again. I have multiple examples of tracks that we all know as major hits. And I played those tracks before they were hits, thinking that I had a new banger that was incredible. And I emptied dance floors with those songs. Lean Back, Fat Joe, Terror Squad, Lean Back. I came back from New York. I had 2 copies, like white label promos, officially wasn't out yet. Got them from Beach Street. I had a gig that night in Rotterdam. I played that in a club called Nighttown, emptied the dance floor. Now, I was one of those people. I was in Beach Street, and the DJ in the booth was playing it in the record store. I heard that song. I was like, yo, what is this? Just the first time hearing Lean Back. I needed 2 copies straight away. That didn't work for the crowd I was playing for. I've had the same thing happen with Destiny's Child, Jumping, at a local club where I was playing every week together with another DJ, DJ Monty. They were not feeling that. A month later, those same people would come back requesting that song because by that time it was on the radio and on TV. I can go on with songs that we all know and they didn't work. Now, I'm not saying that a DJ should not play new tracks, but this should be something you add in. So I do agree, I don't agree with the DJ's job is to educate, because the DJ's job is to rock the crowd. That's your number one priority. But to add your own personality, educating, just giving some of your own flavor and something new is super dope. So I'm not saying that you just don't do it and stick to what the crowd knows, but your main priority is to rock the crowd. So you have to add that flavor and add that education in between. And what I would normally do is if I had a new track and I was like, this is a banger or this is going to be a banger, I would bring it in, but I would have a hit ready. So if the new track wasn't working, and you can tell by the reaction, like the reaction is never going to be like an all out euphoria because there's no recognition. They don't know the song yet. But if they feel it enough, you can tell like, hey, okay, they like it. I can give it to them for like a verse and a hook and then move on. But if I bring something in and I can tell pretty quickly that they're just not feeling it, then I'm going to get that song out as fast as I can, bring in a hit, and then they'll forget within a second. I might try it again with a couple of tracks just a little bit later on, but my main priority is to rock that crowd. All right, IG, what's going on? Salute to all the people on IG jumping in. What's going on? What's going on? I see y'all, and there's a couple of questions that I have that came in through IG that I'm going to answer in a second, just in case those people are also in here now. First off, let's finish the couple of questions that we have here in the other chat. So for the people on IG just joining in now, we got people on Mixcloud, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, all with questions. So going through those questions, and then I'm going to hop on the questions that I have from IG. Carolina Sneakerhead, and we got DJ Eyes. Salute to you. Carolina Sneakerhead says, I'm using the Denon MC7000 after watching your review a couple of years ago. Well, that's that. I know what video you're talking about. That's a video I actually did for Denon, just to explain what the controller can do. It's a great controller, but I feel the DDJ SZ2 is the end all be all for controllers without motorized platters. Hey, if that's always the case, like if you find that there's another piece of equipment that fits your needs better, then that's what you probably should go for. That's going to be the case for you. For someone else, the 7000 might be the way better option compared to what the SZ2 has to offer. So that all depends. Like if I'm looking at controllers without motorized platters, the SZ2 had a lot to offer. I know personally I would prefer a DDJ 1000, but that's for me because I think the way that the jog wheels on the 1000 feel is a lot better than the SZ2. They're the same size. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the ones on the SZ2 are capacitive touch, and the ones on the 1000 are more the mechanical type, like the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2. Feeling thing. That's going to be for me, not for someone else. So that's why it's so important to find out what your personal preference is. And according to that, you can look at all sorts of equipment out there and find what's going to be right for you. And there's so much out there. That's why it's going to take some research to find out, like, okay, once you've been playing for a while, you kind of get to discover what you like to do. If there's anything missing on the current equipment you have, then you have to do the research to find out what's available. And there's a lot out there right now. And then you have to take a look and see, okay, which ones actually offer what I need. Look at some reviews, see, like some devices might look cool, but then you find out like there's a lot of cons that you didn't see at first, and reviews can explain that. So yeah. To Rel, salute. I'm pretty sure you addressed this before, but how do you incorporate new music in your collection without forgetting it's there? I haven't really addressed that, but it all comes back to the point that I was talking about. Like, I want to make my crates smaller, not bigger, because in the past I've had this happen so many times, and on IG as well. A lot of you've probably been through this. If you're subscribed to DJ pools, you have access to all of that music. And every time new music comes out, you're downloading a ton of that music. It's all being added to your folders. And at the end of the day, you're 6 months or 2 years ahead, and you discover tracks that have been in there for 2 years and you never touched them. Or you just forget about them, or you never see them because you have so many songs in every playlist that you just keep on scrolling and scrolling. So that's something I want to avoid. So incorporating new music is to make sure you really listen to songs well. I never did that when I got into the DJ pools, the digital DJ pools. You listen to a couple of seconds, for a couple of seconds, it's like, yeah, that sounds cool, download. You can do that, but then download into a separate folder, and then take the time to actually listen to a lot of those songs from beginning to end to see if this is truly something you want to use. And just add the songs that you truly want to use. And if you really listen to songs from beginning to end and get to know the song, then they'll stick. Because if I listen to songs just for a couple of seconds, yes, at that point I can hear like, hey, I like the sound of it. But if I then just download it and listen to like 20 or 30 more tracks, I've already forgotten about that first track. You need to spend more time with the music to actually soak it in. And then it will stick. Like, then it'll make a lot more sense. Like, yeah, this is what I like. This song I really want to play. And then you remember when you're playing, like, hey, I want to make sure I play that song. Let's see. Yeah, so Mario, I agree. Like, playing on Rotary for house and club music is good, but for hip hop and R&B, it's a little bit different. Like, especially like I said, for me, like I prefer faders. My mixing style really incorporates using that crossfader a lot, and just using rotary mixers, just having knobs, it just seems really alien to me. But I know for some people it works. I know the rotary mixers a lot of times have like incredible sound quality, so it could be a beautiful step, but it's just not for me. Marvin, when it comes to headphones, the ones I'm really into right now are my TM2s, I think they're called, by III. Those are the ones I'm currently using. So not currently here. These are not my DJ headphones. but they really remind me of the Sennheiser HD25. That was my favorite DJ headphone for a long time. I'm also, I've used my Pioneer, the HDJ 1000 first, but then after that, the HDJ 2000. Been using that for ages. Still a great set of headphones. But the IIIs do give me that Sennheiser feel. And they're totally modular. So if anything breaks, any part of it can be replaced easily. All right, IG. I still see all of you, IG. Not really time for the shout outs right now. So that's the thing. Again, just in case the people on IG who are tuned in missed it. I'm doing this every Wednesday. Share the Knowledge Live, my Q&A for DJs. I'm live every Wednesday. Currently not truly on IG, but on a lot of platforms. And if you just join on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or LinkedIn, then you're going to be in the same chat. And you can see what everyone's saying, and it's a lot easier for me to see the questions because I'm using IG on my phone right now, and I have to do a lot of scrolling to see the questions and go back to the questions. So the experience is probably going to be better for you there as well. Quality-wise as well, because this is my camera phone and my microphone, so I hope the audio is okay. It's a little bit different if you watch this on one of the streaming platforms that I'm on right now. Let's see. Real quick. Okay, so Mood Spin Sound already dropped a question for your IG on the last post. Cool, I'm going to get to those IG questions right now. Leon Billups, I appreciate that follow on Twitch. And so Mixmaster G says, I cleared the dance floor in a club with The Show by Dougie Fresh. Turned out to be 4 months too early with that track. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That can really happen with songs that make you say like, huh? Really? Yes. I mean, I'm going to say it again. I said it before. Shaggy, it wasn't me. DJ Imani and I were playing that when before it came out. People were looking at us like, yo, what's this? Same thing. Like 2 months later, people were begging for that song every time we were playing. And in the back of your mind, you're like, I remember you. Last time you were giving me the evil eye when I played that track. Now you're requesting it. I mean, that's just how it works. So that's just always the thing. Oh, I love this. Mixmaster G says, big crates and long playlists are the roots of Serato face syndrome. Yes. And Lester, yes, for you, the audio is fine. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it, you're getting the real stream experience. I've added IG right below my camera. I have my phone here. Y'all can see it. Actually, just to give, and again, for the people on IG can't see this, I just switched cameras. But for the rest of the peeps, I'm talking to you through this camera right here, but I have my phone set up here for the people on IG. So that's what's happening there. Let me just return to that. All right, let me get to those IG questions right now. So I asked this a couple of hours ago on Instagram if people had any topics or questions for the live stream to drop them there, just so I have a couple of topics just in case I need them, even though we currently definitely did not need them. Plenty of questions here. The first one, Mood Spin Sounds. There you are. So let's see. I know there's a ton of videos on tips and tricks for DJs who never streamed in their life on platforms such as Twitch and Mixcloud, including the type of equipment to use. But did you make a video about this topic? As always, like your style. So not a true tutorial type video that I haven't done yet. But of course, during my live streams, a lot of times I will talk about the type of equipment I'm using. Now, let's just say for now, this is a perfect example. And I know this is not a DJ stream, but we can turn the story into the DJ stream as well. So, hey, Rutger, I see you. Salute. So just in case, just as an example, I'm streaming right now. This is a live stream that I'm doing, the Q&A. For the streaming platforms right now, I'm using a camera that you don't need for a stream because it's way too much for this. You can use any type of camera. Normally I use my GoPros. In this case, I have a different camera here. I'm using this Rode pod mic connected to my Rodecaster Pro, and that is connected to the computer. So that's where I'm getting my audio, where you are hearing the audio that's coming from there. I have OBS on the computer, and I'm streaming from OBS to Restream to go to all the platforms. And the camera is connected to an ATEM Mini Pro video switcher, which is also connected to the computer. Blah, 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 a lot of stuff, and then you get this stream. At the same time, even though for the people on IG, it looks a little bit different, but for the people on IG, I'm using a phone, and that's it. And they can still see and hear me. And the quality of the content is the same, even though the production value might be a little bit different. Because yes, the view on IG is a little bit different compared to the view on the rest of the platforms. But the content is the same. Now, if I was doing a DJ stream, and if I only had my phone and I could get my hands on an audio interface, and this can be a cheap audio interface, you have like $20-$30 audio interfaces that can connect to an iOS device. I could connect the output from my DJ set to that audio interface, to that phone, and stream from the phone. I have a little clamp holder on the phone, which can record me. I could do a stream with just that. So especially if you're a DJ and you're starting out, don't focus too much on all of the equipment. Because yes, you can add production value. You can make things look better. Especially if you're doing a live stream mix, you want to just make sure you sound good. That's why I'm saying you do need to have an audio interface. You don't want to stream from your phone and use the microphone on your phone to record or to record your audio from your DJ set. Then you're recording the sound from the speakers in your room. That's not going to give you good audio. I mean, I've seen DJs do it, and I've seen people tune in, because at the end of the day, if they can hear it, they can still listen. But if you get yourself an audio interface, and maybe you already have an audio interface that's connected to your computer, then you have something to go. You're going to have better audio, like an iRig, for instance. But the iRig, there's a lot cheaper options available compared to that, that could also work. So there's a ton of different options. So there's a couple of things that you want to do. You want to make sure you have good audio by using some sort of audio interface, and lighting can help a lot. So yes, I have lighting here that can really improve a stream. If I only had like 2 normal lamps, it's going to look a little bit different. So you want to make sure you have enough light, because that's going to make it easier for whatever camera you're using. This could be a DSLR, this could be an action camera, this could be your phone. But if you have better light, then your video is just going to look better. Mood spin sound. Yes, Serato has an audio interface feature through third party, and I haven't used it, and I haven't talked to DJs who use it yet. But there's an option there. So it could be that works, but I haven't tried it yet. But that's the first thing. Like, make sure you have enough light and something that can help you improve your audio. That's for starters. But like, I need to do a proper video where I can show you more. And like, I just gave you a quick view of what I'm doing here, but this is not really relevant for what we're talking about, because what I'm using now, half of the stuff you see here, I'm not using for my normal mix streams. Official DJ Zero had a question on IG as well. And the question is, how do you deal with mistakes on longer mixes like for the radio? Do you just go back and re-record till it's one perfect take, or edit it afterwards in post with multiple takes? So yes, first off, edit. There's multiple ways you can do this. So let's just say we're not, like, if I'm doing a mixtape, and I haven't done mixtapes in a long time, I record track by track. That's something I would have to show in a video, but I'm not doing a one take. That is for sure. But let's just say I'm doing a recording and I am doing a one take recording. I'll just do that mix. If there's a point in the mix where I make a serious mistake, or a mistake that I don't find acceptable, I stop there and then I just go back. So if I'm making a mistake, it's most likely happening during a transition. So if that transition didn't work, I'll just stop. I'll just go back to the track that was playing before, bring it back like just 30 seconds. Hit record, start playing that track again. Do that same transition over. If this time it works, then I can continue with my mix. Then after I'm done, I take the recording, take it into any audio editing software, and then I can just make a couple of cuts. So I'll cut the recording to right before I started my transition. Then you get the part where I messed up. Then you get the part where I started the track again. And then I make another cut right before I start the transition. Delete that middle part, put the two parts together, and now you just get to that transition, the correct transition. So yes, I remember I've recorded my first mixtapes, and those were like one take where I actually went back to the first track and started my mix over because I made a mistake when I was like 25 minutes in. Oh man, but that was before I had like I didn't have audio editing software. I was recording to a cassette. The master of my mix was a cassette. So there were no editing options. So I had to just go back to the beginning and make that happen. Now, of course, there are pause button things I could have done, but that's getting way too deep into tapes. NevDog also had a question on Instagram. When recording a mix, how to make sure your volume levels are right. It gets confusing when thinking about the channel volume, master volume, and recording volume. You have to use your eyes and ears. You have to use your eyes and ears. So first off, you want to make sure you set your bass level right. So before you start recording, I make sure when I start a mix, when I start a live stream, I can take a look at my channel faders and the reading on the LEDs. If the mixer has like LEDs, mostly you'll have like green, sometimes green, orange, and red. Red, it's clipping. Orange, you're like a little bit higher, but it's still acceptable. I want to make sure my channel faders, if possible, are strictly in the green and not above. You set your master level, make sure you have plenty of headroom, meaning that you have room to go a little bit louder if needed. I want to try to keep the levels of my channels in the green if I can. Or if you are orange DJ, you go for that, but you keep those levels there as much as possible. But you don't just use your eyes, you're also using your ears. Because even though some tracks might look the same on the readout, you have to use your ears to hear if they're actually also sounding the same. And some DJs definitely don't use their ears. I've seen DJs play and they played one track and the volume level was here. Next track came in and the level was there and there was no adjustment made. And you're like, whoa. And then their next track was like way lower again. So it's important that you really use your ears when you're doing that. Eyes and ears. Who's John Doe? If I only want to mix into the second or even third chorus of a song first, because it's the only part I want to play, how do you recommend doing that? Sometimes I want to skip the first verse and chorus and only play the good parts. So I have to say, I haven't really done that a lot. For me, the only time I can really think of that is if there was a song that started with an artist that I actually just did not like at all, but I like the rest of the song and the rest of the artist. It depends. If you're playing digitally, then there's a solution, and you can just use cue points. Simple as that. If you're using vinyl, real vinyl, it's going to be a little tougher. But if you're using digital, and I have to assume you are using some kind of DJ software or CDJs, you name it, you could set a cue point. So let's say you have the beginning of the song, and the beginning of the song is just the beat. So that's perfect to use as your mix in part. Excuse me. But then you set a cue point at the beginning of the second verse or chorus, wherever you want to start, just on the one count. During your transition, you mix it in on the beginning of that song. So your transition is still going to be just the beat, the beginning of that song. Normally, at the end of that transition, you just let it play and then the first verse begins. But now, instead of letting that transition just play out, on that new one count, you hit your cue point and it starts the one of the second verse. So I hope you understood that, because it's going to be, I'm not going to spend more time explaining that here. I would have to show that in a video. Real quick, let me just take a look At the rest of the chat right there, peace up, salute to you. Mixmaster G says it's no longer third parties built into Serato. It's called Serato Virtually Audio, but it works with other audio and DJ software too. Works fine. Okay, great. And Moodspin Sound also said, I edit some of my mixes, but one-take recordings are more authentic in my opinion. Well, to me, it all depends. If I'm, so for instance, if I have an audio replay of my live stream, I call that an audio replay of the live stream, so people who listen to that know that it's a live recording, and they're going to hear mistakes and stuff like that in there. If I make a mixtape or promo mix that I put online, that's not a live recording. That to me is promotional material, and I want to make sure it sounds as good as it can sound. Not just because that is a better promo tool for me, but also because it's going to be a different type of listening experience for the listener. Because let's be honest, that live stream mix has a live feel to it because it was live. If I'm recording a mixtape, it's not live. I don't have an audience. I'm not building with people. So it's going to be a different sound regardless. So I do both. But if it's going to be a one take, I'm just going to call that a live mix so people know and understand why they might hear little hiccups and flaws in there. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to make sure people do have a clear understanding of what they're listening to. I know what I need. That is what I need. Salute to Brainpower. Make sure you check out all his latest albums. And make sure you check out his latest releases. Check out Dichter bij God. Make sure you check out John Nada. 2 of his last releases, both produced by me, myself, and I. All right, back to the IG questions. I'm a beginner DJ, Steffi G, salute to you. Beginner DJ who's just getting into the club scene. Right now I'm based in Taiwan, but from the Caribbean. Do you have any general tips for playing for an Asian crowd? Or at least those who like Western type music? No, I mean, the first part, definitely no. I don't have tips for an Asian crowd. I don't. I have no experience playing in Asia. I've played for Asian people here in Amsterdam, but not like an Asian crowd. This could be a great question for maybe someone in the chat because I have no answer for that. All right, so those were the couple of the few questions on IG, and that was plenty that we had there because there's more questions here already. David Monopoly in the chat, I see you. That is in no way a DJ related question. So not something we're going to discuss here. And let's see. Garnett Grassi, I see you. Salute to you. Have to DJ a private club event for LGBT age 25 to 64 hours. What does that playlist look like these days? I haven't DJed in years. I mean, I love the question, but I have no idea. First off, just right off the bat, I don't think there is an LGBT playlist. I mean, it seems absurd to me to say that there's a specific music for that category because that category consists of all sorts of people. Wow, age 25 to 60, that is pretty diverse as well. And then a 4-hour set. So no, yeah, that's a tough one. Hey, David, I appreciate that resourcefulness. So just to add it, David's question was, do you think Islam is right about women? And my reply just was, that's not a DJ related question. And this is Share the Knowledge Live, a Q&A show for DJs. So he just rephrased the question. do you think a DJ would say that Islam is right about women? So yeah, I truly appreciate the resourcefulness there. But I'm sorry, buddy. Same thing applies. That's just not a topic for here at all. In no shape, form, or fashion. So sorry about that. Wrong show. Vinyl Touch, did you end up trying Virtual DJ out? If so, what are your thoughts? I'm a record box user, but the more I try it out, the more I learn how powerful it is. I actually had it open for a minute, like a couple of weeks ago, and I need to go back because at first I was like, okay, I'm in the computer. I really want to try it out DVS style, and then someone just told me like, hey, you actually can use it DVS style with your current setup. So it's like, oh, I have to try that, but I haven't tried that yet. So as soon as I give it a proper try, I will definitely get back to you about that. Because yes, it looks like it is powerful for sure. Oh, Vinyl Touch, yeah. Maybe you said that indeed. Yeah. Oh, you probably indeed did. So yeah. That is something I still have to test because I tested it without. All right, IG, let me quickly see because I see we still have a lot of people in here. So salute to all of you. Let's do a quick rundown here. Oh, I see a question as well. So Ice Gap says, what about 70% of DJs sound the same because DJ City? Well, first off, that's not DJ City's fault. And I'm not just, I'm not here defending family or anything like that. Here's the thing. You can give 20 DJs the exact same 100 tracks. DJs should still be able to make their sets sound different. You as a DJ should be able to add your own individual style and flavor to a set. And I can assure you, I know that I can take 10 other DJs and we can all have the same records. And I'm not going to be playing the same way as the other 9 DJs. Not saying that I'm playing better, but I'm going to say I know, like I have plenty of DJ friends here. I know all the top DJs that are in my scene. So let's say just take the hip hop and R&B scene here in the Netherlands. I'm not even talking about worldwide, just here in my scene, the Netherlands. I can even just take it close and just take Amsterdam, but I know the top DJs here in my scene, all of them. None of them play like me. Again, not saying I'm playing better, but I know we play different. We play differently. We have our own style, even when we're playing the same tracks. So it's not about the songs they have. If all of those DJs sound the same, and I agree with you, there's a lot of DJs out there that sound the same. And in this case, I'm not talking about my colleagues, but I have plenty of bookings here. I had plenty of bookings here where I've heard other DJs play before me. Not the top DJs, but a lot of other DJs. And a lot of them just really sound generic. So yes, they will just do a cookie cutter set where they're playing the same songs, just mixing them, no extras, no personality. But that's not the fault of, in this case, a DJ pool. That's up to the DJs. So, and then again, there are some top DJs worldwide who lowered the bar by just having like no originality in their sets. But no. So I agree. A lot of DJs sound the same, but that's not because of where they get their music from. Okay, but if someone starts new, this pool makes all of them build the same crates. Now, again, I have to disagree because there's so much music in DJ pools. So it doesn't matter which one you have. If it's DJ City, Beat Junkies, BPM Supreme, you name it. DJ pools have so much music, and I know because I skip so many of the songs that are in there, and I just pick the ones I like. So if I know that I'm skipping so many songs, I know that other DJs are taking those songs. So I think you're talking about just generic DJs. And yes, they're going to sound the same no matter where they get their music from. They're going to sound the same. And they sound the same because they're looking for the exact same tracks, the tracks that they know are going to be played because they think they have to play that exact same way. Yeah. And then they're going to sound the exact same way. So, yeah, that is that. Ice Cap, salute to you. Rod Ram, I see you. DJ Benefits, salute. Jassy, DJ Cash, DJ Slick, DJ Studs, J.D. Barber, DJ High 2, David F. Baby or Bobby Van Beasley? I see you. Salute. Ojo Dubon, and I mispronounced your name. I know that for sure. Rock Cuts, the 1-0, Michelle. I mean, there's so many out there. Sam, I see you. Salute, Sam. West Govern. Man, the Ricky Original. There's so many in here. So salute to all of you on IG. There's too many right now. DJ Amigo. Dimitri. What up? Nikita, I see you. DJ Slick. All of you. Antoine, LA in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Again, for the people joining now on IG, check me out every Wednesday. Share the Knowledge Live on actually all other platforms except for IG. So make sure next time you join in on Twitch or YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. T-Bab says, so true, we feel songs differently, or will it be the case of such DJs playing safe and not wanting to go outside of their comfort zone? Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. A lot of DJs will play safe and will just stick to the familiar stuff, unfortunately. Queen Caesar, salute, I see you. Boostnik Select in the building as well. Happy New Year. And Curtis, what is up? What's up? What's up? I have to scroll up for a second. I missed a couple. It's actually 10. I should be finishing the stream, but if there's anything else, we're going to just cover it really quick. How do you deal with lagging DJ software when you connect your controller? Sorry. I actually don't really. I don't often have that problem. One thing you need to make sure, if your laptop can't really handle too much, make sure that everything you don't need is turned off. A lot of times people have a lot of programs running in the background that they don't need to have running, so that the CPU can really just focus on what it needs to focus on. That is something that can help. Make sure you start with a fresh computer when you go out to play as well. Make sure you reset it. I've done that a couple of times, that I had the computer on the entire day. Then I went to play a set. I was setting everything up, and I could tell, like, hey, something is wrong. Just restarted the computer, and then everything was smooth as butter. Matt Wiley says, I'm using Virtual DJ with the Reloop RP 8000 Mark II. Plugged into the DDJ 1000. Works great. Nice. And Vinyl Touch is using the Reloop RP 7000 Mark II and an S9. And I have to take a look at that. All right. Antoine has a question, and which streaming service do you prefer using when mixing? So the Q&A show I do basically on all platforms. Every Monday I have my mix show, and that's only on Mixcloud, Twitch, and Twitter. Yes, Twitter. Used to be Periscope, but now that's just Twitter. Those are the preferred platforms. So Mixcloud will give you no issues, and you can just play. There's not a video replay. You can only have an audio replay. Twitch is perfectly fine for me, but after I'm done playing, the replay is not really going to work. I forgot to delete the last one, so Monday's replay should still be on there, and I can guarantee you that probably 85% of that mix, that stream, has been muted due to copyright. So that's what I'm sticking to. Twitter also gives me no issues at all, and the video replays are up on there, and they just work just fine. So that's my preferred. I used to try YouTube. Got a little issue there. Facebook, like halfway through streams, they would get cut off due to copyright. So I'm not even messing with that anymore. Just using Mixcloud, Twitch, and Twitter. Garnett Grassy says, how can we get the urban/black R&B hip hop music originating from Europe? A great question, because for most of the digital DJ pools we know don't really are based in the States. and don't really have a grasp on what's happening in Europe. Oma Jason in the building. What up, man? Gelukkig nieuwjaar. So that is a thing. So DJ City does have, like, they have the UK stuff, and they have a lot of that. They have some of the German stuff every now and then, like a Dutch track in there, but not a lot. So that's going to be a little bit harder. I mean, I don't know of any specific DJ pools that will offer you like a good selection of like just European urban music. So I don't know. Hey, DJ 312 in the building with 312 bits on Twitch. Salute to you, fam. Let's see. What about the music streaming services? Beat source, title, etc. Oh, wait. So maybe I misread your question. I'm sorry. So I thought you were talking about the platforms to stream on, but you're talking about music to use in your DJ software. Okay, so I'm 100% on board with BeatSource. That's my main tool that I use. Then again, I also have a Tidal subscription and SoundCloud, so I can use those as well. But I'm using BeatSource the most because Tidal, even though they might have the same amount of music, when you use Tidal inside Serato, for instance, you do have access to the songs, but you don't have the same info. You don't see the BPM info and stuff like that. With BeatSource, you do. BeatSource also has the offline locker, and BeatSource also has DJ edits, and you're not going to find any DJ edits on Tidal. So that's BeatSource for me. Let's see. Bushnick Selector says, those who are out there playing, stay safe. Appreciate the luxury of playing for people. Yes, I agree. Here in the Netherlands, we are in lockdown again. And in some places of the world, people are going all out. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Have a lot of fun out there. Let's see. Matt Double T, I appreciate that follow. Let's see. Okay, now that's cool. Anything else on IG? Because then we're going to cut it. I see one question on Mixcloud by Fave. I'm going to get into that in a second. Do you use anything or have specific ways you organize your music? It's so much now. Yeah, we were talking about that during the first hour of the stream. So for me, one of the things, I'll just recap real quick. I want to make my crates smaller because, yes, there's so much music out there. So be very conscious of what you add to your crates and make sure you really know the songs that you're adding to it first off. Go through that collection and look at songs and judge if you're actually going to play those songs. Otherwise, get them out because, yes, it is so easy to have too much in your crates. Antoine, I appreciate that. Queen Caesar, at what point in your DJ career did you realize I need to share the knowledge with the masses, and what was your mindset at the time? I know I started my first YouTube channel in 2009, but that was really to promote myself as a DJ. So I was just posting mixes online. So mixes, I was showing myself mixing because I knew there was an element to my style that people should see instead of just hearing it. I did that for a year or two, but then I got a lot of issues with copyrights and just decided that's not going to be it for me. At that time, around 2011, I had a plan to create some sort of a DJ platform. I'm not going to get into all the details. It was a pretty ambitious plan, but I'm glad I didn't do it because that would have been way too much work. And at that time, I don't know if I would have been able to implement that really. But part of that plan was to have educational content. And I just knew that during that time I was looking around on Facebook, on YouTube, and I just noticed that there actually wasn't that much educational content. So I don't know. It was never a big plan from the beginning, like something I wanted to do. But at that time, I wanted to create a platform, including some information in videos, and I just noticed like, hey, there's actually not a lot going on online. You had the DJ Tutor. He was there. He's still there. That's like the legend from way back. And I know DJ Angelo. Salute, by the way. DJ Angelo had a couple of videos up. And I think DJ Tech Tools might have had some. I mean, there were a couple of DJs, but it wasn't like an abundance of information compared to some other fields where you could find like a lot of information, but not when it came to DJing. And I don't know. No, actually, I do remember actually during my first channel back in 2009, even then, I know at a certain point I made at least 1 or 2 videos in which I was showing how I recorded my mixes. And I don't even remember why I wanted to do that. So actually, it just happened. Changed my story. It just happened. So I guess it was just in me that I like talking about the stuff. And YouTube was just a great way to get it out there. Let's see. Where was that other question? Oh, that was Mixcloud. Sorry. Favor says, a lot of times it's the mobile DJs sounding alike or with no originality because they're at the mercy of what the client wants to hear. You can still take those popular tracks and bring some originality. But if you're constantly getting booked based on previous gigs, then why change it up? Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you said there. But then again, I don't hear mobile DJs. So in my case, when I'm hearing all the DJs with no originality, I'm talking about club DJs. So I think it could happen in both places, but I could imagine that for a mobile DJ, it makes more sense that you have your regular go-to tracks from different genres and that the mobile DJ gigs aren't the place to be like crazy experimental compared to clubs. But then again, I hear a lot of club DJs and they are not original at all. Do DJs ever have to make their own instrumental version of the song? Well, that question actually only applies to recent years because that was not an option. I remember people asking me back in the days like, hey, could you make like an instrumental version? I'm like, that wasn't an option. If you had a song, that was the song. Nowadays, we actually have the option. I mean, I have RX-8 here. I can make an instrumental out of any song. Not every song will sound as good, but the option is there. We even have DJ software now that can do that. So do DJs ever have to make their own instrumental? I guess if DJs want to make their own mashup and they have an idea like, hey, I want to use that instrumental, but the instrumental is not available through a DJ pool, then they can make it. So yeah, the option is there and it can be done. And you can do it in Algorithm DJ. You can do it in Virtual DJ. And the software I'm talking about is called RX by Isotope. There are 2 or 3 online services, and I don't have the names here now, that also allow you to do that. So there are websites, and they'll allow you to upload a song, and then they can give you like a track where they take the vocal out and stuff like that. But I don't have names, so you should Google that. But there are options for that. DJ Red 434, no, I have not installed Windows 11 yet. So I'm still on Windows 10 on the Windows computer, and even with the Mac, because I do have a Mac now as well, not a laptop, Mac Mini. I'm on Big Sur. I did not go for the latest operating system yet. Mad Live, what's good? What's good? Good to see you. All right, real quick, one quick stroll through IG, and then we're gonna call it a day. I'll be back here next week. So I see one more question, I think. All right, what do you think about mixing in key? Mixing in key can be great. It's not something I do a lot, especially for the genres I play. With hip hop and R&B, it is less important. DJ Knowledge, I see you. Salute. I mean, yes, you can make mixes that will arguably sound better when the keys of the songs match. But when you're playing hip hop and R&B, a lot of times you're making transitions that are very short. So when I mix between songs, most of my mixes are 8 bars or even shorter. So the songs aren't playing too long together. There's a lot of there's house genres where DJs mix songs together for a lot longer. So instead of 8 bars, they might play 16 to 32 bars, mixing the two songs. Long transitions, playing with the EQ. If you have songs playing together for a long time, sonically, it's going to be a lot better if they're playing in key, because then all of the instruments and melodies are going to actually match compared to when we're playing. But if I'm doing an 8-bar transition between two tracks, even if they're not in key, if I bring that new track in, I take the bass out of one track, you're not even going to notice it that much. But if I'm playing two tracks, or if I have a new track and I have it in the headphones and I'm cueing, and I can hear that certain of the instrumentation is going to clash with the song that I have already because they're not in key. If I can hear that in this case it's going to be a clashing situation, I'll grab a different song. But mixing in key can make things sound very good. But I never focus on it. All right. For the people on IG, I'm going to say salute to you first. I want to thank you for tuning in. So one more time, I'll plug the show. I do this every Wednesday. I start 8 p.m. That's Central European time. Check your local time zone. I stream for at least 2 hours. You've just been on for like 45 minutes, but I do this every week. Make sure you tune in, but tune in on YouTube, Twitch, Mixcloud, Twitter, Twitch, Mixcloud, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything but IG, basically. All right. See you next time. Peace. All right, we get that out. I mean, it was cool to do for now. I have a lot of people who do watch on IG, and it's cool to get them involved, but I hope next time they will join us on one of the other platforms. Is this off? All right. There we go. Last look here. Does the Atem Mini take a load off a MacBook? Let's see. I think it most definitely will. I mean, I'm not using it with a MacBook, but that part of the question caught me for a second. But yeah, because there's no capturing really happening inside the computer except for one USB cable going into my computer, and OBS just sees that as a webcam. But all of the stuff is happening in the Atem Mini Pro. So I have to assume that that's a lot easier on my computer compared to having all of those cameras going into capture cards in the computer, or all having them connected through USB, because you have four webcams and an iPhone 12 for all the angles through 2015 Mac. I mean, the thing is, I don't know how you have it set up, but the thing is, though, are you showing those angles at the same time? Because with the Atem Mini Pro, of course, you basically have one at a time. Now, that's not totally true. I mean, for instance, I could have like picture-in-picture, and there are ways within the Atem Mini I can program it to have that bigger, because now it's a very small, is there a very small picture-in-picture. But you don't have the same control compared to having 4 separate inputs in the computer, because then you could have a scene in OBS where you actually have like 3 or 4. But if that's not important, for me, an Atem Mini works great. Wait, let's see here. Wait. Let's see. Because there's some more talk about it here. Regular Atem Mini does not have the upload. Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's the point. Like, yes, I'm using the Atem Mini Pro, and you could live stream straight from the Atem Mini Pro. But if that's the case, then Mixmaster G, like if you use an Atem Mini Pro to stream, then you're not using OBS and you're not using your computer. Then you're streaming straight off the device. I could do that with the Atem Mini Pro. In my case, it's just going to the computer. I would still have to assume that just having that as one input into my computer is going to be lighter on my computer compared to having the 4 webcams, but maybe that doesn't make a difference at all. And I'm not sure about how that works in Mac. Mixmaster G knows more about that. That's one thing that I do know. DJ Knowledge, it has been a minute. Salute to you. Favor has Neural Mix Pro, and that is Algorithm. That's basically like Algorithm DJ is their DJ software. You can use Neural Mix in there, but you can also open it as a separate app on the Mac as Neural Mix Pro. I do think RX8 probably, or they now have RX9. RX has the better, I think it has the better quality separation, but I have to do a proper test with Algorithm and even Virtual DJ and RX, take the same song and do the same separation and then compare the files. Mad Live, Mixmaster G has his own weekly live stream on Tuesday. That was yesterday. He has a weekly AMA on Tuesday. Oh, here we go. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central European Time. I can show what RX8 does in the next in a separate stream, because it has but there's a lot of software out there that can do that, do the separation. I have not done a proper comparison. Anyways, let's call it a day for now, because we are 20 minutes past the time. I want to thank every one of you for tuning in. Make sure you spread the word. Here every Wednesday with Share the Knowledge Live. Back next Wednesday. If you want to catch a mix, every Monday I mix on Mixcloud, on Twitter and Twitch. Had a lot of fun today. That's it. I'm not even going to hit the end screen. We're just going to call it a day. All right. Salute to all of you. See y'all next time.